is host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People and the most amazingly competent horticulturalist you'll ever encounter. I'm not an amazing horticulturalist. That's always been my dream, but unfortunately, all my dreams are shattered, just broken shards around my feet. And why is that the case? Because I never learned anything about horticulture. So I do appear to actually be mostly on the mend here, mostly better from my cold. I've been very sick since like the day after we got here, which has been very frustrating to me because I hate being sick. And this has been a really bad cold I've had. Not COVID, I'm pretty confident, pretty sure it's not, because I've had COVID before and it's different. When I had COVID, it didn't feel like a regular cold. It had, I had your business. Your dreams were all shattered too? Instantly. Just, just, all you need to do then is get a dustpan and a broom and just sweep them up and throw them in the trash, huh? So it's like, that's been my number one frustration about this whole move is that I've been sick. But but I'm a lot better this morning. I woke up with a little bit of stuffiness and still a little cough, but not feverish, you know. It seems like it's mostly runs course. Still have a little bit of phlegm and stuff, you know. I don't feel shitty like I did all the way through even yesterday. But one important thing that happened yesterday, well, a couple important things happened yesterday. Uh, First of all, the heater guy came and fixed the central heating. And oh my God, is this house so much more comfortable with central heating on than it is with with this propane heater here and space heater someplace else, which is what we've been making do with since central heating broke like 6 hours after we moved in, you know. Um, but they came and fixed it yesterday. The guy did, and now it's just like super cozy in here and comfortable wherever you go in the house. You just set it at 71, heat 71, and it feels like it's probably even a little warmer than that, you know. So that was a big help. But then the other thing that was a big help is I had originally called one electrician to come fix what I thought were multiple broken fixtures in this house. Like many of the rooms in this house have these fan light things, right? And and basically none of them worked except for this one. So we were a little frustrated by that because according to the um, home inspection report, only one of those fixtures was not working. Well, when I called an electrician, he asked me, "Well, are the fans on remote controls?" And I said, "I think actually they might be." And I went around. It turns out there is only one broken fixture. We were just being retarded about the whole thing and not understanding how they worked. So most of our electrical, what I perceived as big electrical problems, namely a lot of electrical stuff not working, turns out it's just one fan and light fixture in one room that's not working. The rest of them we just didn't we weren't using them. We didn't figure out how to turn them on properly, and it is kind of annoying. It's like you've got these pull strings that turn on or off the lights in the fan. And then you additionally have a light switch. So, depending on which direction the pull strings are pulled, if the light switch can either turn it on by going up or turn it on by going down. So it's like, um, I'm not really that frustrated at myself for not getting it. It's weird. Like the fixture in my bedroom, the master bedroom over there. If you turn off the light with the light switch, then you turn it back on, it won't come back on again. You have to use the remote control to turn it on again. You can turn it off with the remote control and then turn it on again with the remote control, no problem. But if you turn it on with a light switch, then anyway, it was a relief to discover that we were just being retarded and not have all these problems. But we do have a plumber coming this morning to fix a substantial plumbing issue, which is the bathtub in the upstairs leaks through the roof of the ceiling of the kitchen. So that's a bad one, right? What's your question, Smitty? How many eggs make a dozen? 12. That's the answer. Actually, don't even ask me your question. I'll just give you an answer, and then you determine if it's the answer to the question you wanted to ask. The Ural Mountains. There's your answer. Now, does that answer the question you wanted to ask? What question would you want to ask if the answer was the Ural Mountains? Which mountain range sounds most like urine? That's true, not your business. That's true. I'm not exactly sure where the problem is with the bathtub. When you have some obligation later in the day, like a meeting or got to do a favor for someone, before that time reaches, do you have a hard time investing your time in anything seriously before it? My answer is the Ural Mountains. That's an SI type thing. People who are SI types do that. The higher up it is, the more they do that. But I do that too. Like when I was dating Kimberly, if she had something at like 4 in the afternoon, the whole time before that, it was always like, well, I can't do anything. We can't do anything because I have work later. It was like 7 in the morning. She's working at 4 in the afternoon. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like if I know that I've got some errand I have to run at like 10 a.m. It doesn't open till 10. Before 10, I'm just kind of like kicking around waiting for 10 o'clock to come. I can't really focus on anything else because once I get locked into focusing on something, then I lose track of time. And it's like I don't want to have to pay attention to keeping track of my SI future appointments at the same time I'm paying attention to something that's not that, you know? Hi, Bofet. Hi, Misfortune. Late appointments ruin the whole day. Yeah, I know. But this is another thing that sometimes can happen, which is the good version of the same thing. I'll be like, I've got to go do this thing at 11. It's 10:30 right now. I can't really do anything fun. I got to wait half an hour. but maybe I can squeeze in like 5 little tasks in this 30 minutes. And then maybe I'll do like 5 little tasks. Because like this is useless time anyway, you know? It's between 10:30 and 11. I have to wait till 11 to go. I can't do anything fun that takes 30 minutes. So fuck it. I'll just do the dishes and I'll take the trash out and I'll meow de meow. Oh well, if you're talking about like a date or something, Smitty, that's a different ballgame. Everybody's like that about dates. You know, if you've got a hot date later today, like a date with a girl you've been wanting to go out with for a while, and you finally ask her out, and you're going to go out this evening, your whole day is going to be useless because you're going to be thinking about that all day. You know, that's for everybody. That's not a type thing. I'm pretty sure that's for everybody. You know, in the flush of new love, new romantic attraction, like maybe you know hooking up with somebody new that you've never been with before or something. Uh, it's hard to pay attention to anything but that, you know. So one thing I really don't like about marijuana, I hate I hate coughing so much. Thing is, I actually am a morning person. Well, that's an interesting question, and an observation. Somebody says, "Oh, speaking of love, is love that different for you between friends and your sweetheart? I've never really understood the difference. I might love her time more, but the love itself is the same." Um, I very rarely experience the feeling of love. I occasionally do. Um, Mostly with Delilah, my daughter. It's this weird kind of like chest warmthy feeling, but it's not very informative about anything as far as I can tell. But no, the love I have for Rachel is very different than the love I have for my friends because I put my penis inside of Rachel, and I don't do that with any of my friends. Loving a being in love with a woman, you know, like loving Rachel, being having a wife or something. A critical component of that love is that you can only really love that person properly by dicking them down, you know? You gotta teach her a lesson periodically with your penis. Otherwise, you just get more and more irritated at that person. flouncing around here with your boobs and vagina like it's nobody's business. Somebody needs to teach you a lesson. That somebody is my penis. Do I ever just listen to hardcore death metal where the vocalist growls the lyrics? No. I never purposely listen to bad music. I do sometimes accidentally or unwillingly listen to bad music. Like when I'm in the supermarket and some horrible song comes on, I'm like, ah. Well, I mean, it's the physical reality of the spiritual phenomenon called preciousness. So, if you think about Gollum, he really loved that ring a lot, you know. He loved the shit out of it. He loved it so much, he just wanted to sit there and just be like, oh yeah, this ring is so rad. I love it so much, you know. Is that a different kind of love than if he had a Gollum girlfriend? Well, it is a little different because the ring can't push back at all, whereas another person can push back. Do you think people who call their husband, boyfriend, daddy in a sexual way is creepy? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's lots of weird stuff in sex. Stuff that's completely insane in any other context is often perfectly fine in sex. You know? Like, as far as I'm concerned, sex is plain pretend uh, bully, plain pretend bully or something like that. No, I don't call Rachel mommy. I mean, the thing is, it's probably the case that one of the two parties takes on um, the role of subordinate, you know, and one of the two parties takes on the role of senpai, sensei. I don't call Rachel mama. Live Q&A. Our host Eric is spreading lies about Club ENTP. Am I? I don't think so. I mean, the nice thing about accusations like that is it's simple enough to say, what lie did I tell about him? You know? And if they can't, if a party can't produce the instance of a lie, then it's easy to defend against, right? Good for him. I mean, the thing is, that's exactly the sort of title that is actually defamatory. I spread no lies about it. I may have insulted him, but I didn't spread any lies about him. Words matter, you know? By making that title, he's lying about me. He actually engaged in defamatory discourse. Yeah, well, not your business. The craziest. I said some positive things about him in the beginning. Those turned out not to be true. Is that his argument? Um, so it turns out when I called in my prescription this month, I called it for the CVS up here in Oakhurst, and I called it in. It was ready to be picked up in like 3 hours after I called it in, probably sooner, because I couldn't get my text message until I went out to the town where I had a little bit of no, I'm just gathering my thoughts. um, it was like I called it in. The doctor called into that farm CVS in Oakhurst, and it was ready like bam, no problems at all. So as I told Rachel, I think the CVS in Oakhurst may stand for constantly very super. Right by the vitamins. I wish you could get it right by the vitamins. It should be just called vitamin A, Adderall. I mean, the thing is, lying is something very specific. If you're making let's say you make a promise to do something in the future but don't follow through on it, you did not lie. You broke a promise. That's different. Let's say you voice an opinion that turns out to be wrong. You didn't lie. You were just wrong. Lying is something very specific. You have to knowingly be telling an untruth, purposefully and knowingly telling an untruth. And that's definitely not something I've ever done to Club ENTP or about him, you know. Now, in contrast, he's lied many times. Every time he came into the chat as a character and pretended to be that person and made claims about himself, he was lying. He was misrepresenting himself as a person other than who he actually is and making claims about his life that were factually untrue. That's lying. Yeah, he's one of those people who don't use terms in that way. He just says whatever and wants you to understand what he means. Well, the thing is, he doesn't mean anything. He wants you to side with him, or he wants you to think less of me or something, right? So, who's Sophia? Lying depends on intent. Ignorance depends on knowledge. And gnosis is a kind of dumpling made of potatoes. Oh, wait, that's gnocchi. Lying? Yeah. Because if I tell you I went to the store on Wednesday and I have misremembered, it was actually Tuesday, I was wrong. I was not lying to you. If I told you I was at the store on Wednesday because I'm trying to say establish that I didn't do meow, when I actually wasn't at the store on Wednesday, and I know that, then it's lying. Because, memory is only sort of reliable. Uh, Rachel and I had this dispute like a week or two ago when I said, "No, it's definitely Thursday," and she was like, "It's not Thursday, it's Friday," and I'm like, "It cannot possibly be Friday, meow meow, it's Thursday," and then she pulled up her phone and it was Friday. I wasn't lying when I said that. I was genuinely convinced it was Thursday. I was very wrong, though. I mean, it would depend on the nature of the exaggeration. If you exaggerate it by simply adding adjectives, it's probably not lying. If you exaggerate by making false comparisons, then it probably is. Like, you're a great guitarist is not a lie, even if they're a good guitarist. You're a better guitarist than anyone I've ever met is a lie, right? So, uh, if you're trying to cheer your friend up and tell him a bunch of positive things about him, like you're a great listener. I think you're fantastic wingman to take out to a bar with. I think you play really interesting music. Blah 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 blah. You're not lying in that instance, right? But if you're making false comparisons and saying, no, no, you are a better musician than that person, and you are a better conversationalist than Joe, but really you don't believe that to be the case, then that's a lie. Is this line your friend is down, so you tell them, oh, I just read that one. Eric, separate from other types of memory. How well is your episodic memory of things 2+ weeks in the past when someone presents a trigger for it compared to their memory? Um, can you give me an example of episodic memory? You need more nochi. Nochi is the only legal form of dumpling according to the Kabbalah. And Madonna has taught us all that the Kabbalah is where it's at. After all, she's Madonna, bitch. Rachel and I watched quite a few episodes of The Office yesterday. It's not pronounced Noki. Gnocchia? Gnocchi? How do you pronounce it then? I don't know. That's how I pronounce it. But then I pronounce anagram anigram. So I don't always pronounce things correctly. Whenever somebody doesn't pronounce a word correctly, it means they mostly encountered that word reading it and haven't heard people say it very much. Gnocchi. It's gnocchi? Well, then why does it have an O in it? Be phonetically, be phonetically intuitive, okay? Be intuitively phonetic, I should say. No chi, and that's what happens when a shinobi dies, actually. Anagram. Anagram is the way it's supposed to be pronounced, but I read about it so much before I ever heard anybody say the word, and every time I read it in my head, I read it as enneagram because that's what it looks like, you know. It's not no chi, it's gnocchi. It's gnocchi. Right, isn't it? Did everybody appreciate my hilarious no chi equals dead shinobi joke? I hope so. If not, shame on all of you. Gnosis is some kind of occult knowledge, right? Well, there's the Gnostics, right? The Gnostic Christians, pre-Christians or whatever. No, no, no. I was reading somebody else's thing when I said no chi. I did say no chi, Mac Daddy, but that was me reading somebody else's pronunciation of it. My pronunciation of it is no ki. You know what's a good insult? That guy's all yin and no yang. It'll confuse people. Remember that crazy redhead ENTP chick on YouTube said she was Finnish? Her name was like Chi or something. Can't remember exactly. She was cute though. I don't remember her. Gnosis just means knowing, I believe. It is a greater knowing, though, more of an occultic word, I think. I'm glad you think things. He's all hat and no cattle. He's all yang and no yin. I be thinking all day, motherfuckers. I be thinking all day, motherfuckers. Is a good expression. I don't know who they're talking about either, but spreading lies about Clubby and TP forever. I'm not spreading any lies about Club ENTP. You're the one who runs fast and loose with the truth, not me. You're the guy who thought it would be some kind of art project to falsely present yourself as these multiple characters and, involuntarily include people in your purported art project. I type policed her. Okay, well, I've as a professional type policeman, I've gone through a lot of perps in my day. Okay, can't expect me to remember every encounter with the criminal population out there. I'm a thin blue line. On this side, order, peace, love, harmony. On this side, chaos, murder, drugs, rape. Just me stands between civilization and barbarity. A shoelace. Heard that from a Shia LaBeouf movie. What? Where is that? What is that referencing? I'm on Top Chat. Let me put it on live chat. That might help. Hi, Winston's mom. You found a psychic, huh? Well, maybe we'll check it out. We have gone to like tarot card readers with storefronts before. Um, you know, I can tell instantly pretty much whether the person is going to be any good at it or not. There are some people who are bad at that kind of stuff who think they're good at it. I'm definitely intrigued to see Club ENP's arguments. We'll check it out later. Damn it, he wins using the drama for views. Well, that's fine. You know, I don't mind playing tit for tat video. He puts up one, I put up one here periodically. That's fine. I don't mind that. The problem that he had before was he kept thinking that he could make my stuff part of his art project non-consensually. And that's just not cool, you know? Okay, Eric, you're a man of facts without the whole PR part. I've been typing people for a long time and believe I'm really good at it. What I found is that there are no female T types. That's not true. That's totally not true. My daughter's as TI as you could possibly get. I mean, well, she's not dominant, but she's TI tool. It does seem that they're just observationally, casually, it seems as though um, across both men and women, there are more F's than T's. Today on Club ISTJ, how to optimize your oil change subroutines. Man, I mean, I am so jealous of Cameron's relationship with his objects. He has got such a fabulous relationship with his objects. He knows where everything is. He has everything he ever can possibly need with him at all times. It's crazy. It's fantastic. It's just that I it's a dream I can just sort of look up way up at the top of this mountain up there, and I can't even aspire to even think about climbing it. You know, I just can't maintain that kind of relationship with my objects. You got to put things back every time. You know, most of them are in it for the money, Hero Lamb, but I did it all for the nookie. So let me have a cookie while I stick it in your ass. I think is that the lyrics? No, maybe that last part's not part of the lyrics. What was that band called that made that song? I did it all for the nookie. The nookie. What was the name of that band? Hmm. Well, I don't agree with you, Smitty. That's not a phenomenon that occurs to me. That happens to me very much, where I misidentify TE as TI. That is very unlikely to occur. Limp Biscuit. Thank you, Nacho Business. Limp Biscuit was the name of that band. It's, I mean, it's a shit song, and it's also a hit. You know, it's like it is. It does have that earwormy, get stuck in your head quality. Fortunately, it doesn't get played very often anymore, so you don't run the risk of being infected with it. Or ISFJs who manage SI plus third TI, which looks a lot like ENTPs. Well, they have the same absolute values, right? That's why they look similar. ISFJs and INTPs both have TI and SI as absolute values, but you can easily distinguish between them simply by having them run through TI questions. you just keep asking them until it's obvious. INTPs will just be like bam, 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 bam. ISFJs can be good at them, but they're like, oh, yes, I got it right. It's like it's a big difference between it's a huge difference between TI Dom and TI third. You can easily distinguish between those just by asking a bunch of TI questions. It's all about the he said, she said bullshit. What's all about the he said, she said bullshit? They should kick the vocalist out of the band? Misfortune says, Winston's mom, thank you. And that is true. I like helping, and I would be honest. Unfortunately, I experience imposter syndrome regardless, usually. So it's likely just that. Listen to the Limp Bizkit remix album. It's the best of their work. I was pretty high when I used to vibe to it, and my frontal lobe wasn't developed, so take that as it is. Is there any difference in being highly intuitive, good at reading people and situations versus being a psychic? Um, no, I mean I agree with you. I am a compilation of my limits like everybody else. You know, in order to cut very precisely, I can't make very big cuts. And in order for this thing I've cut out to work in this thing over here, I've got to eliminate this dimension. And there's necessarily going to be a conscription of the scope of what's being expressed accordingly. I do, like INTPs, rely on conceptual level stuff too much, you could say. But what's critical to remember is it's too much only when you're not dealing with something for which that approach is optimal. When that approach is the optimal approach for the thing you're dealing with, then it can't be too much. It's just a matter of conscribing the scope of your claims such that you aren't trying to do work that requires a screwdriver with a hammer. As long as you're always using a hammer on nails, then you can't be using a hammer too much. Well, okay. So the answer is there sort of isn't anything different between a psychic and an NFJ, say an intuitive who's good at reading people. But even thinking about it that way is backwards. The real psychic is always the person who's consulting the psychic because they're the ones responsible for making all the links. The psychic's presenting these universal archetypal things and framing them in certain frames. But the individual is creating all the links between their personal experience and those universals. That's how it works. So, when it seems spookily correct, it just means that the archetypes that pop up in this tarot spread, for example, it's very easy to create clear, broad links between specifics going on in your own life and those archetypes. Now, since you've got myriad different experiences going on in your life, myriad different relationships, different people engaging with you in different ways, different things on your mind at different times. No matter what tarot cards come out, you'll always be able to create some linkages. And so the art of being a psychic is to create positive linkages that do um, nurturing narrative work rather than negative linkages that do damaging narrative work. Are all hunches intuition? Um, well, that's a beautiful, brilliant, spectacular question because what it opens up here is this whole new part of a map that I hadn't considered before. The thing is, we think about intuition as being about what is. Like something's already happened. Sherlock Holmes goes and looks at clues and intuits from apparently unrelated pieces of information, like a piece of a puzzle here, a piece of a puzzle here, a piece of a puzzle here. He intuits what the full puzzle looks like just from those little pieces, right? That's what we normally think of intuition being, is knowing the identity of something based on limited information about that thing. The identity of the thing could be the answer to the mystery. It could be what kind of animal is that. It could be um, what's a good time of day to go to leave the house. Uh, it's a lot of things, right? But it it's actually probably most clarifying to talk about intuition when it applies to predictions. So when somebody says, "I've got a hunch that that this guy is has ulterior motives. I've got a hunch that this guy has ulterior motives." What I'm really saying is, right now, I'm engaging with this person on on a literal transactional level. He says he wants to help me do this because he needs to practice this skill on my porch or something. Like he says, I'll fix your porch furniture for free because I'm trying to become a porch furniture fixer and I need to practice. Now, and I said, I've got a hunch he's really here because he wants to steal my mana and he's going to wait for me to be turned around and then he's going to grab it and run away. That's a prediction, right? It's also intuition. It's your intuition is saying something's not right about this situation. It doesn't resonate as the whole story to me. So in that instance, you can see how intuition is both filling in purportedly missing puzzle pieces. Like perhaps this guy who says they want to fix your porch furniture to practice fixing porch furniture has said a couple things like mentioned that, oh, I really like that guitar over there, and he had mentioned before that he was going to move to Montana soon, and he had mentioned before that when he got to Montana, he was going to be joining a band. Now he's got means, motive, and opportunity to steal your guitar. So you might intuit that his claim that he wants to fix your porch furniture to practice fixing porch furniture is a specious claim, that he actually has an ulterior motive. He wants to steal your guitar. Okay? So, are all hunches intuition? Um, if the word is being used properly, yes. You could say, I've got a hunch that, well, like Trouble. Trouble was gone. Rachel and I both intuited that he was not coming back. He spent one night inside this house. We let him outside when he wanted to go out in the morning, and we didn't see him for 12 hours. Uh, and by the end of that 12 hours, my intuition was screaming, and Rachel's was agreeing. He's gone and not coming back. Cameron said, I don't know. Um, uh, I've seen cats that have been gone for a long time before and then come back. Sometimes they disappear for days and come back. Um, he didn't say, I've got a hunch he'll be back, but he could have expressed it that way. Now, if he had expressed it that way, he wouldn't have been talking about his intuition. He would have been referencing his experience, which is exactly what he did say. He said, like, I've experienced cats that been away, right? He used SI to know that it was way too early to give up on the idea that trouble was way too early to conclude that trouble was gone, right? Yes, moving was very traumatic for both the cats, but especially for trouble. Um, Smitty Urban Jagerman says, at Eric, I've not been active much since your first time with DMT. Have you played with dissociatives yet, like Kay? Uh, well, you figure wrong. Actually, I don't like ketamine. I put myself in the K hole one time, and it was my very worst drug experience ever, probably. Um, you know who likes ketamine? Rachel. Rachel likes ketamine. We did ketamine uh, when we hung out with Corey around Christmas time. But I didn't dislike it that night either. But then I was on a lot of different drugs too, so and I couldn't get the DMT to work for shit. It's like I hit that shit so hard. I think the psilocybin tolerance may impact DMT as well. Well, we did. We knew we were going to have to keep him locked inside for a while, and we did to make sure he knew this was his house. But then after he'd been in here for I don't know, 12, 16 hours or something, and really wanted to go outside, I said, okay, well, I'll let you go outside. During that time period, by the way, you, that's DMT is where you meet elves supposedly or whatever. Ketamine, the K hole is just you're completely dissociated. It's like I found it terrifying because it was like I couldn't locate myself basically, my identity, my it was horrible. It was terrifying. I've never experienced anything so terrifying before. It must be like what it's like to have dementia. Um, no, we don't have a chip in the cat. Anyway, the point is the intuitives were wrong and Cameron was right. Trouble came back. Once it got dark, he came back and meowed, and now he's settled in pretty well. But he still spends every day, all day outside, missing in action. We have no idea where he is, and he comes back here every night. So, and he seems to have he's not fully adjusted, but he's pretty well adjusted. Capito, meanwhile, is thrilled. She loves this place. She's super happy here. she's like, finally, we have this big house where it's warm, and there's a litter box in the garage that I can poop in. And she goes outside occasionally, a little bit, but not doesn't spend much time outside because she's SI, right? She's an SI dom. She wants it to be comfortable. Um, in LA, she spent a lot of time outside because it wasn't that cold, you know? Let's see. Jeremiah, I only think that way because your moon sign is traveling through a different constellation since yesterday. Looks bad with one's sense of depth perceptions. One time, a bunch of us fell off a roof, one after the other, like suicide goats. I think I, I didn't know there were suicide goats. I would expect you to say like lemmings, but I prefer what you did say. It's great. It's like it's a great way to start a book. This one time, a bunch of us fell off a roof, one after another, like those suicide goats. It's a great way to start a book. I'm not sure where the story's going from there, but it's a great way to start a book. Um, you were right about him being a cancer, but I guess wrong whether I'd confirm it. Although I am apprehensive about being personal sometimes, so I guess you ought to you'd be sort of near the mark. Sort of near the mark. That means not far, but not really near. What's between near and far? Hero Lamps, Smitty says, Eric, how does your one-on-one dynamic with ISTPs differ from other types? Um, well, instead of answering the question you asked, I'm going to give you an example of how my relationship with my ISTP student differs from my relationship with my ENTP student. Jeffrey's an ENTP, Chloe's an ISTP. Jeffrey has the proper relationship with me as a teacher. He contacts me when he has specific questions and things he wants help with. Like, I don't understand what the correct interpretation here is to make of these New Yorker uh, covers, pictures. And then basically I'll talk through my interpretation of what's trying to be said there intuitively, and we'll record it. And as I'm talking through, he'll ask clarifying questions as he needs, and then it's like a cross examination. The asker is in control of the cross examination. So once he's heard what he needs to hear from me, he cuts me off and then asks me the next question. Right? That's the proper relationship between a teacher and a student. The student is driving the bus, not the teacher. The student knows what they need to learn. My relationship with Chloe is the exact opposite. Chloe, but this is not her fault, right? It's not Chloe's fault. It's Chloe's mom's fault. Chloe's mom wants me to work with Chloe because I'm a good teacher. But because I'm a good teacher, I want to work with students the way that Jeffrey works with me. Namely, there needs to actually be something that needs to be taught and understood. Something actual work needs to be done. That's not just work for its own sake. Yes, I can teach Chloe to have better mastery of grammar than she currently does. I've gone over all the grammar with her before, but she hasn't mastered it yet. Yes, I could conclude my work on the conditional logic unit that I've begun teaching with her, and I'm willing to do both of those things because there's actual things like she has not done formal proofs yet in logic. We haven't gotten there. She's still doing like truth tables and stuff like that, you know. And we could go all the way through quantification theory. I'm qualified to teach through quantification theory. But the problem is she's not driving that bus. So it's like I don't want to be teaching you things that you don't authentically want to learn. I don't want to be a teacher in the normal way. They're oppressive. They're they're part of the problem, you know? Anyway, Chloe gets frustrated at me because I always want to talk about why we're doing this and whether we should be doing this and what she genuinely wants. But she could not have any less conscious FI because it's 8 slot, which is even less conscious than 7, although more effective. What she wants is for me to just be like a normal teacher and be bossy and tell her what to do. Let's see here. Next thing. So I answered that question. Let's move on to the next thing. Well, I had my astrology chart done like a year ago, and despite making fun of it, I do know some stuff about it. It's interesting to think about. I mean, the problem with astrology is tarot's mechanism is easy enough to understand. The deck conscribes the scope of possible interpretive action by arbitrarily making it into a 72 slice pie, you know, or sandwich, 72 layer sandwich. And then you do the work accordingly. With astrology, instead, you do the work by finding the bit of astrology that matches. It's backwards. That's what makes it infinitely, because it's infinitely regressive. It's never useful or meaningful at all. But I mean, the thing is, having said that, remember, people who are using introverted intuition have to use bullshit tools because they're knowing, they aren't determining. We are here in this house because of Rachel and her astrology app on her phone that indicated this area was a good place for us to move to. That's why we're in Mariposa. I mean, ultimately, that's why we're here, because we had mentioned Mariposa, but I had moved on from the concept of Mariposa. I was thinking Oregon. I was thinking Shasta County, maybe. I was thinking, you know, variety of places. But Rachel was concerned, wringing her hands about this silly astrology shit, right? Well, the point is, she was right. But here's the deal. She was right because she was the one who was picking the bit of the infinite pile of mush of astrology to utilize, and the context in which to utilize it, and the kind of decision to utilize it on. And because she's such a powerfully intuitive person, she was right. But it had nothing to do with astrology. That's just like she needs some sort of external concrete thing to uh, anchor down onto. It doesn't really matter what it is. Because she's an intuitive knower, she's not a deliberative knower like me. Also, I mentioned he's an ESFP, so you might think feeler. A cap. You're a cap. Ah, interesting. Or those scary African rivers crossings. Well, that's because there's hippopotamuses in African rivers. Hippopotamuses are very dangerous. If you go in a boat into their area when they're in the mating season, they'll tip your boat over and kill you with their giant teeth. So avoid hippopotamuses. Crocs in the water? Oh, well, crocs are dangerous too. You don't want you don't want to get eaten by a crocodile or a hippopotamus. But statistically, you're more likely to get killed by a hippopotamus. I would say that some people are knowledgeable about it and others don't know anything about it, but both talk a lot about it, so you have to pay attention who you're talking to. There are so many stars and planets. I mean, not so many planets, but so many stars, so many bits of light that you can see in the sky that as long as you've got created stories related to the linkages of where these were things compared to these other things at certain times, you've got infinite possible things. So that's what I'm saying. It's infinitely regressive. It never informs more. It always informs less. If you use it in a deliberative fashion. Now, if you don't use it in a deliberative fashion, if instead you use it like Rachel uses it, where she says, well, this astrology app tells me this is a good place to actually make a decision, and you're an NIDOM, then it can be a powerful tool for you. It's still a ridiculous tool, but it doesn't matter because you're a very special kind of intuitive and you can get away with it. But there aren't many people who use it like that. Most people try to use it to explain things. And for explaining things, you could hardly come up with anything worse than astrology. Proximity, says Boba Fett. It's a good word. Proximity. Gatekeeping is good in some instances. I don't know if it's good in astrology. I mean, it's not like there are. The problem with astrology is, I guess, it just occurs to me, people should use it to make decisions if they're highly intuitive. Because after all, think about the situation Rachel and I were in, right? We knew we were going to sell that house in Arcadia and we were going to move. We literally could at that point move anywhere we wanted in the country, and we have to make a decision on where to move. How do you do that? To do it deliberatively is to gather information about many different places, compare them objectively against each other, do all these pros and cons and shit like that. And what you discover is it becomes functionally impossible. It's so unwieldy a task. How do you possibly know you're making a good decision? What's most important in a circumstance like that is not to have the most well justified decision, but to be certain about where you want to be, even though it's impossible to be certain when you have that many possible places to be, right? So you need things like that to give you something to hold on to if you're an NI-DOM like Rachel. What I do is then I just get to delegate that to her. And I go, well, I don't know why this is the best place, but I know that it is because Rachel knows that it is. And I know Rachel. Rachel's the most sneakily brilliant person in the history of the world. She is sneakily genius beyond all measure. she is the ultimate show none of her cards person. Kant claims that all representations generated by a sensibility are structured by two forms of intuition, space and time, and that all sensory aspects of experience are their matter. Okay, well, this is the problem with INTP stuff, right? To understand any of Kant's quotes, you have to go back to all of his definitions. You know, that's why Critique of Pure Reason is such a fat book. Like C.S. Joseph, a very popular channel putting out bad information which thousands believe and preach to all of us. You'll run into them online. Ah, Hero Lamb, says Misfortune. Ah, Hero Lamb, where is it? Ah, Hero Lamb. I've watched some of his stuff and I can always pick out when someone is using him as their source. You know who definitely uses C.S. Joseph a lot? Melissa Talks. Oh, that's interesting. They say stuff like, that's just Eric T.E. Hero or S.E. Child speaking now. Uh-huh. I mean, it's actually just Eric speaking now. I'm speaking with my mouth by pushing air from my lungs using my diaphragm past my vocal cords, moving my lips and tongue in certain ways to project sound waves through the medium of air where they reach the microphone and then eventually come out as the same sound waves of air going to you from your speaker. That's called accurately describing things. Or I'm an unconscious focused INFP. Unconscious focused, huh? Misfortune says, at Hero Lamp, check out Eric's Type Please saga on Melissa Talks, and then if you look into her body of work, you'll likely see she has learned from C.S. Joseph. Joseph does it all for the nookie, except literally. He dates his fans much younger and even dumber than he. Well, yeah, I've heard that he's a bit of a well, I've heard women complain about his behavior the with women, but that's just hearsay. Hero Lamb says he used to be obese, he lost weight and turned into a dickhead. Huh. Well, it is the case that people who are very overweight children, when they get thin, there's a there's a very strangely strange impact on their ontologies a lot of times. But I don't know. I think with the right astrologer, it can actually be descriptive and prescriptive. I can honestly see that when done right, it is quite accurate, even if backwards diagnosed at times. Well, I mean, you can find the parts. You can always do this because my moon was in Mya. That's why I deviate from my sun sign so much. You can always do that. That's what makes it meaningless. There are always more moons and Myas, and nods and squares and etc. And so because you can't ever say, well, obviously astrology is bullshit because I'm nothing like a Taurus as they are normally described. Because that doesn't falsify anything because there's all this other stuff, right? Well, that's because your Mercury was in your Uranus's, Mars's, moons of Jupiter or something. Because there's always these other shit that it's a creative process, not a not a in other words, you can throw away the astrology parts entirely, keep the descriptions of the person, and you've lost no meaningful information. See what I'm saying? If you now see that the outcomes from moving there lining up to what the chart said, that's quite interesting anecdote. Yes? No, you're right, misfortune, and that kind of stuff does happen, right? It's like, um, I believe what Rachel read about each of our relationships with Los Angeles, living in Los Angeles, was incredibly spookily spot on the money. And I believe that what she read about each of us and our relationships with this spot will also prove to be incredibly spookily accurate. It it was it's weird, but the thing is, I don't credit that to astrology. I credit that to Rachel. It's There's a lot of different astrology stuff online, right? She used astrology tool Mia out of 100,000 different possible astrology tools. It's her intuition that was right. That astrology tool she used was the one that agreed with her intuition. See what I'm saying? I I'm imagine she encounters plenty of different astrology tools and she's always playing around with those things on her phone, like white magic and goofy shit that I used to make fun of a lot, but I don't anymore because Rachel's into it. Um, so I don't doubt that she had done other astrology location stuff that she never mentioned to me, right? Because it didn't resonate intuitively with her. And then she found this horrible app with this the worst map interface anybody could possibly conceive of. You cannot. I want to just share the app with people so they can laugh at how horrible the map interface is. When she asked me to help her find a location on this map one time, I was just like, after about 2 minutes, I was like, oh my god, just delete this app immediately and burn it. It is the worst app ever. But that was the one that told her the right answer, so that was the one she was using. So who's the genius here? Astrology? No, it's Rachel. She just happens to use astrology. She's such a genius. She can use astrology to be right. I think put it that way. Even though you could hardly pick a worse possible tool to be right with. She could be right with anything. Give me that pine. She's the MacGyver of rightness. Give her a pine cone, a piece of dog poo, and a plastic straw, and she'll make you a nuclear bomb. Right. Let's see. Isn't that because people don't avoid hippos that much? I think the main reason Carlos Paiva is this. Because if you go on a boat in a river in Africa, it's generally pretty safe. You can see hippos and go around them and stuff like that, and generally not mating season. But um, anytime a hippo is aggravated, like it just got into a fight or whatever, it goes underwater, and then your boat goes over it, and it goes up and freaks out. It's already mad, right? So I think most of the hippo deaths are when people float their boats over a submerged hippo that's sulking about something. This is just my personal opinion. This is not based on any kind of it's based on a couple of stories I've seen or heard about people who did die in hippo attacks, and they were like that. So that's what I think about the hippos thing. Okay. It gives an intuition for other people if you don't want to have it. It isn't very fun sometimes to be clued into others when you want to detach. Oh, well, I don't have that problem. I'm very self absorbed. Paying attention too much to other people is not one of my problems. I'm paying too much attention to Eric. That might be one of my problems. But imagine this: someone gives me someone else's chart for whatever reason to keep me fooled. That would be pretty clever. I mean, I don't know. I don't use those, even when doing tarot, which is maximally. Well, that's surprising. That's a big surprise. Normally, when I let Trouble out, he doesn't come back until nighttime. I let him out about an hour ago, and he just wanted to come in now. That's surprising. Um, I don't know. The thing is, knowers, whether it's first slot or second slot, want to know. And that's why things like tarot and astrology and such are popular, because they are ways of knowing without determining. Deliberators typically are going to be less interested in those magical knowledge modalities, because epistemologically they determine things rather than know them, first and foremost. That's Ni1, Ni2, Si1, Si2. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I got that. No. I mean, that's Ti1, Ti2, or Fi1, Fi2. I can always tell another water sign rising, also on first meeting. Can you tell if my water sign is rising? And is water sign a euphemism for my penis? Um, the Aqua and Scorpio fight, but both are detached, actually, I would say. Just like water and scorpions as well. Scorpions are always fighting with water, but ultimately neither of them care. So much chatting today. You guys are doing a great job of chatting, I must say. I'm very impressed with your chatificationalizing of things. You want to go outside again? You want to play inside outside, kitty? I just let you in. That guy Nebler, I think it's oh no Niebuhr. Are you talking about Niebuhr or not? Okay. Now I'm back to where I was. Okay. Scorpio rising listens to Eric. I'm not really a perfectionist. I think Virgo shows up in liking to learn, being humble enough to admit you're wrong, modesty, innocence, the virgin archetype. Ooh, I want to be a virgin. Touched for the very first time. I'm like a virgin with your heartbeat next to mine. I'm Madonna, bitch. Um, Neighbor, were you on any MBTI forums before? Miss Fortune says we are on an ENTP channel. I think wherever the wind takes us is fine. Lol. I guess technically this channel has all kinds of stuff on it. Where did you get this Smokey the Bear shirt? I would wear this. I like the message. Uh, Somebody gave it to me as a present. Maybe Rachel. Maybe Delilah. I don't know where I got the shirt actually. I think that. It's where usually some woman in my life buys me whatever clothing I'm wearing. I have not taken part. Read, yes, not written. You leave some comments on my videos sometimes, Niebuhr. I enjoy your comments. They're interesting. Used to know this guy on one called Nebler, some kind of NTJ 8 Wing 9. Real dick on there. Quite the reputation, lol. I always hate that type of attitude, like, I'm right. And you ask why, explain. And the other person was like, because I say so, pal. Eights are fighty. Yeah, eights are fighty. Hero Lamb says, like, fuck off, you knuckle dragger. Knuckle dragger is a good one. I'm gonna have to incorporate that a little bit more into my common vocabulary. I like it. I not that long ago kind of rediscovered halfwit. Knuckle dragger falls under the same category as halfwit. I'm surrounded by halfwits. I shan't permit any of your knuckle draggery around me, sir. Um, make my homemade caveman club to hit you with. Spiritually speaking, of course. Hmm. You got a spiritual homemade caveman club? Is DJ Og spinning the prehistoric jams? Forer effect. In astrology, this goes to what host Eric is saying. Barnum effect. We grab what applies to us and remember the hits. Well, the thing is, yeah. Have you ever camped and cooked bacon over a fire? I have, or at least I've been camping with we used to go camping when I was a kid. I did a lot of stuff when I was a kid. It's funny as I think back on it, I realize, Jesus, my parents took me so many places. I did so much stuff as a kid. It's crazy. Because yeah, we went camping. Of course, we went camping frequently, and uh, and my dad would always cook bacon and eggs for breakfast over the campfire like a cast iron pan. But I don't think I've ever cooked bacon myself over a campfire. Oh, right. Good question. That was one of my boy. I will never really forgive myself for the harm I did to that poor woman when I forced her to take a week off of work by telling her she wasn't getting arrested, but that I had my doubts about whether she was an ENTP. That's the funny thing about that whole thing is I didn't even arrest her. I said, well, I guess there's not really enough evidence to take you in because I'm looking for something that eliminates the claim type as a possibility, not stuff that supports an alternate possibility is more strongly, right? Okay, I'll let you out again. But can we not play inside outside kitty, please? I don't like that game. Pick a side, in or out, and then stay in on where that side for a while. By the way, apparently Melissa's that chick who got mad at Eric for typing her some type she didn't want or whatever. She said she had to take a week off work due to stress of being harassed. Haha. Of course, the thing is, I didn't even I didn't even arrest her. I didn't even say, all right, that's it. You're going to type jail. You're not an EHP. Even though I could tell she wasn't, there wasn't enough evidence that there weren't enough examples of, like, say, she wasn't sane enough for me to be determinate about it. So I let her go. It didn't seem to matter. I don't think she even watched the video she freaked out about, as far as I could tell. If she had, I would wonder why she was freaking out. You know? The ancient astrologers were much cooler. They literally drew the charts themselves by looking at the sky. They were like mystic wizards. So it would just be my impulse to confuse myself, says Jeremiah. Yeah, that was much more impressive, here I am, when astrologers drew star charts by looking at the sky. Yeah, I mean, it's intuitively, it makes perfect sense for ancient peoples to have intuited that this vast display of the heavens provided information pertinent to our lives. it must mean something, right? All this information above us that has repeating patterns and stuff. It's got to be conveying information about something, right? It's, only a completely non-intuitive primitive person would not seek information from the parts of human experience that don't change. And the heavens are where things don't change. Or, more correctly, where they change in predictable fashion. Consistently, year after year after year after year after year after year after year, right? And humans are trying to find some anchor for meaning. That's the most sensible place to anchor it, is where we have certainty. The problem is, of course, that much of what humans want to get information about is informationally unavailable. They can't access that ground. So we want to get information about why Joe is like Joe. You can't access that ground directly via any obvious mechanism without prior to cognitive functions anyway. And so you use your most reliable tool, the one that never deviates from your expectations, and intuit that reliability will be transferred onto the analysis. Of course, it's not, because of reasons we now understand but didn't then. I think if you get killed by a hippo, you must have been asking for it. They don't even bother people. Well, they are very territorial, and they can be very aggressive during the mating season, especially because the male hippos, hippo men they're called, they, like a lot of those cow kind of creatures. If you are a male cow, buffalo, bison, bull, oxen, or something, then you believe it's your mission in life to fuck all the cows and to not let the other men fuck any of the cows. So, because of this weird bovine obsession with fucking all of the cows yourself and disallowing any of your friends and neighbors to have any cows to fuck, it causes a lot of testosterone driven meowing during the fucking season. When you go around hippos during that time of year, then they are either looking at everything that comes near their cows as something that's trying to fuck their cows, or they're seething because they're not being able to fuck any of the cows because they just lost the battle to that big hippo over there. And so if they can't fuck any of those cows, well, at least I'll knock this boat over and chew those people up, That's when hippo deaths occur, is during mating season. And it's all because of the bovine wrong modality. The bovine creatures of the world have chosen the wrong mating modality. They've chosen the harem modality. The harem modality is bad. It's bad for men. It's good for women, but it's bad for men. Basically, if you're like a certain kind of bison, you spend your first 7 or 8 years getting your ass kicked and not being able to fuck any cows. And then, like when you're like 10 years old, you finally are badass enough that you get to fuck all the cows for like 2 weeks, and then you die. It's a terrible, terrible way to do things. Because you've used all of your life fighting and fucking for fighting off other bulls who want to fuck your cows and fucking your cows for 2 weeks, that you're never gonna survive the winter. But you've achieved your life's ambition. When little baby bulls, male cows are born, right away it starts saying, someday I'm gonna fuck all the cows. Anyway, I guess it's about time for me to smoke a cigarette. Well, you know what? Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's change the order of things. Let's pull the bong rip first. What do you say? And then we'll take ourselves outside and we will smoke a cigarette. Maybe we'll take ourselves to the back porch this time instead of the front porch. Wouldn't that be interesting? That was a good bong rip. Some bulls turn gay? Really? I didn't know that. Are gay bulls either pitchers or catchers? Or do they take turns switching? Let me put on a coat and get in a boat, cross a moat, learn how to float, and then I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. Ah, you got away from my cows. Only I can fuck all of those cows. And the female cows are so just like bored about the whole thing too. They're just like, oh, I guess it's my turn to bend over. Okay, go ahead. And the bull's like, fuck you. Yeah, I know, you fucked me. The correct term for bull is cowboy. Mama? Yeah, little Dawson? Mama, when I grow up, will you let me fuck the cows? Well, now son, you are gonna be a cowboy. Cowboys fuck cows. Otherwise, what would they fuck? Well, don't Daddy fuck you, Mama? Well, sure, but not when he's out driving cattle. During those occasions, he gotta fuck the cows. Which is the most attractive of our cows, Mama? That would be Bessie. She's got large but perky teats. Do you know the way to San Jose? If so, why such useless information? No offense, San Jose. No, I take that back. Offense intended, San Jose. I hope you're offended. You know why? Because you suck. You suck, San Jose. I've been there. I know. You suck. Sorry. Truth hurts. Burn. This isn't San Jose. No way. This is much less totally gay. This is Mariposa. The place that Rachel Chosa with her astrology app. She said, oh my God, all of my astrology will punish us. And she was right. As usual. But not always. She and I were both wrong about trouble. We thought, we're not going to see him again. He's gone. But we were wrong. There are certain kinds of matters about which sensors are more intuitive than intuitives. And one way that, oh, hi, trouble. Here you are walking down the hill, walking up the hill. Let's see. Where is trouble? There he is. See him? We've got this ridiculous baby raiding a dolphin fountain back here. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Oh, Mr. Man. Hello. What an important kitty man you are. Yes, so very, very important and good and true and just and fine and special. Yes, you are. All those things and more. Okay, let me see if I can set this here properly. Just work. There. Oh, Mr. Man. What a good kitty you are. Yes. Yes, Bob, that's right. I'm here in the Jersey-Dale area of Mariposa, where you're currently seeing some clouds moving in. Local residents report anticipating precipitation in the coming 48 hours. Back to you, Bob. How is that? You're still alive. Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you. I call that Eric's weather report. So I got a big pile of sticks down there. What I've seen people around here do is, this is the time of year when they burn. I need to burn this big pile of sticks down there. But before I do that, I want to get some gloves. I want my stuff. We're waiting for our stuff right now to be dropped off by pods on Monday. And we've coordinated with some moving people who are going to come unload the pod for me. I'll take the little wilderness car out of the garage, and they can just basically, you're going to have a couple of things they have to take into the room, like the bed and the mirror. That's going to require some like moving stuff into places other than the garage. But then after they move those big items into the house that I want moved into the house, then they can just unload all of the containers into the garage. And then we can move them in from the garage into the house and start moving in properly, you know? So, like, my point, I guess, is just that depotting is much, much, much less complicated than podding. The in pod process, determining what we needed to put into the pod, how we needed to arrange it, what we needed to keep out of the pod, that was an absolute fucking nightmare. But depodding should be pretty straightforward. I regret not scheduling it for the end of this week. Um, but uh, but we'll make do for another couple of days. It wasn't until like yesterday or the day before that it really struck me that we need our stuff. I'm not into objects really, so but I need them. You know, I just don't like to think about them, and so I think that oh that's a low priority getting our stuff. It should have been a much higher priority. In a second, I'll show you the pile of sticks I'm talking about. There's also some like junk down there by the shed that I want to get rid of. And you know what's crazy? Up in the crawl space, the original owner of this home, who I think had it built, just to his specs, was a a supercomputer nerd. Now, keeping in mind this house was built in 2000, he has up there in the crawl space a Commodore Amiga. And he's got like these, it would look like Atari, old Atari game cartridges, but they're for what I think is this some kind of robot thing he was making. See the pile of sticks? It's right there. That's the pile of sticks I need to burn. There's so much fire focus up here. Everybody's very aware of, attentive to matters related to fire. Yeah, it's pretty cool here. I mean, it's very cool here. And now that we've got the central heating working, the guy came and fixed it yesterday and fixed the upstairs propane heater as well. The central heating is so much better than heating in this room and in this room. Even though it was effective enough, we weren't too cold. It was never exactly the temperature. And now with the central heating on, which is this heating air conditioning unit, it's propane electric. So the heating's propane and the air conditioning is electric. So but an amazing central heating system. It kicks so much ass I don't even know. Like it's like you set it at 71 or something, and it is exactly the same temperature everywhere. But these ceiling fixtures in here, they're so they're gonna take some getting used to because you got to use a remote control. There's a remote control, there's a light switch, and there's these chains you can pull. Okay, so there's permutations. If you have the the light switch this way, the remote control that way, and the chain this way, it might be off. But if you have it's like I guess it's done that way so you can turn off the light from bed, but um, it makes it kind of complicated. And a lot of the light switches are whether up or down is on or off. It seems like either arbitrary or it changes somehow. I need to go through and label all the light switches in this house because there are so many different lights around this house. Like this, for example. There's a light right there. Do you see it? And there's another one right there. Those maybe have the same light switch, or maybe different light switches. I'm not sure. There's a flagpole light. There's retaining wall lights. There's lights on the outside of the garage. There's lights along the outside porch walkway thing. And then there's lights in the garage, lights in the laundry room. There's the foyer's got this big ceiling fan thing that does work. I actually changed the light bulb of it yesterday, and the fan and the light bulb work. Yeah, but it's funny. My phone every once in a while will get like a quarter of a bar and will update here or something, and it identifies us as being in Yosemite National Park. That's what my phone says we're in. It doesn't even say we're in Mariposa. We're at the very back of the Darrow Road, Triangle Road area. We're in a park called Jerseydale. If my house were, I don't know if you can see it, down there's a street. If my house were on the other side of that street, we'd be as far back as you can be. There'd be nothing but forest behind me. But I'm on a circle road that goes like this and goes down there. There's a house down there you can't see really from here. But on the other side of that road is just forest. And Hives Cove Road is one of several roads for little wilderness cars around here. The last time Rachel and Cameron and I went out, we tried one route that we hadn't tried before, and we had to turn back because there was a giant tree blocking the road. It had fallen over in the recent storms, because they were big storms before we moved here. Huge, big storms up here. So big, and they were making such a big deal about it on the news that I sort of panically called David and said, please go look and make sure the house that we're buying isn't a pile of rubble. So anyway, this massive tree was blocking that part of the wilderness road. I was thinking, I may end up buying a 9-inch chainsaw. And then if you take your little wilderness car out and you got your 9-inch chainsaw, and you got a tree blocking your road, you just get out, fucking chop it into pieces you can move, and toss them over to the side and just drive past it. The little wilderness car's got a winch on it too, so I don't know how to use it. But these are the sort of things I wouldn't even try with unless Cameron's with me. Cameron's coming up again this upcoming Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to going out into the wilderness in the car. And okay, do you have to play inside outside, Katie? Can you just pick a side, please? And it's like I could even conceive of maybe Cameron and I going camping back there some night. Like, Rachel's not gonna want to do this with us because that's too hardcore, right? But I might be down to do that. Drive way back in there somewhere. Make sure I bring an extra gas cans worth of gas. It's got a small gas tank, but it doesn't seem to. It gets, I guess, good gas mileage, or I guess we're not going very far. It's got a maximum speed of about 25 miles per hour. But it's a super comfortable ride. It's crazy. It's not jolty. You don't feel all like, I got bounced around too much. It's a really nice little car. For what it when you're using it for what you're supposed to use it for. You wouldn't want to drive it around the streets because it's too slow. Okay, pick a side, kitty. Inside or outside? Okay, you're going outside because you're taking too long. This cat, this trouble, he just loves to torture me. Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes. Yes, you love to torture your daddy by playing inside outside, kitty. Where's my lighter? Oh, there it is. I lit this. I must have had a lighter, you know. Well, I lit the previous one, I mean, so I must have had a lighter. I need to go inside and get my drink. Can you guys chat among yourselves briefly? I'll be right back. You know, this will be an excellent place to live stream when it's not winter. Um, or you just put a chair right here. Like this thing right here is sitting on the chair, actually, while I'm standing up. I've got it on, like, two legs of the tripod on the front, and the third leg on the back of the chair. But I could see myself even sitting in one of those chairs, because there are actually two of them. Let's try this. I could sit in this chair like this, and I could do this the same on the other chair. Except, would you be able to see me? Well, that's a little bit high. You can still see my head. Maybe if I had a taller chair. Sorry if I plumber butted you there for a second. There. This chair spins around too. I can't really sit out here very long though, because I'm gonna have to put on socks before I come sit here. I'm gonna put on socks and shoes. I currently have my flip flops on, and it's too cold for flip flops. The other problem is I can't read your chats on my phone. I'm live streaming from my phone, which I prefer the video and audio quality of, given the bandwidth limitations. My live streaming from a laptop looks and sounds a lot worse, and given the fact that I don't have my mics right now. But what I don't like about live streaming from the phone is that I cannot read any of the chats. If I had my glasses, I could maybe, but even then, they pop up and then they fade away, and they fade away pretty quickly. So I got to be on it, or else I'll miss it. But if I did have my glasses, which I have inside, I could probably read the chats fine on the phone. when Cameron and I um, first took out the wilderness car, we saw this huge owl, and I found that very meaningful symbolically because, of course, we had that incredibly weird experience in Arcadia shortly after my dad died. Rachel and I were talking about whether he was watching us from somewhere, you know. And then we drove into my driveway, and there was this enormous owl sitting on the wire that crosses my front yard in Arcadia, my old house in Arcadia's front yard, and gazing down upon us. And I had never in 50 years seen an owl in that San Gabriel Valley where I've lived for my entire life, pretty much. And so ever since that occasion, every time I see or encounter an owl, I consider it some sort of message from my dad. I interpreted that one as approval. I think I've done a pretty good job of narratively managing the death of my parents and the transition to this new place. I don't anticipate experiencing a lot of moments of existential terror linked to the fact that what once was my life is no more, is gone, is no longer accessible to me. Because I had such a long time to get used to the idea, you know? And because I did a lot of talking through of the fact that this is no longer my life down here. This is my new life up here and stuff like that. And practicing hating that house and hating that place and wanting to be away from it and not viewing it as my home anymore. So I don't feel homesick at all yet. I might at some point, like miss LA, but I don't think I will because like Cameron's coming up again this upcoming Wednesday already. So you know, we see each other about that frequently anyway. So I like having him come visit. If he likes to come visit, then you know I'll see him plenty often. Dave Porter is a little harder to get up here because he works 5 days a week. You know, he's a FedEx delivery guy. But I'll go down to LA anyway to go see Delilah. Delilah is gonna be hard to get up here just because it's hard to get Delilah to do things like that. Like, she's an action type. She doesn't like others dictating her action to her at all. Okay, I need to go inside now because my feet are too cold. And I want to be able to read what people are saying. This doorknob is on the other side of the door than you'd expect. Why? Nobody knows. Nobody but whoever knows. Okay, now I'm going to bring this chair back inside. Put it over here where it goes. And I'm going to stack the chair back there. I stacked it. Then we're going to go together to the bucket out front briefly, where I'll throw away my cigarette butts. In the butt bucket. Okay. Now we're up front. There's the butt bucket. There's my cigarette butt going into the butt bucket. Now, let me find my other cigarette butt. So I smoked 2 cigarettes out there. I put both butts in my pocket. but only threw away one. I don't know what I did with the other bud. I guess I lost it. Oh well, it'll turn up. I'll throw it away when I see it. I'm trying to keep this place nice and clean and not get rid of junk and clutter and stuff, you know. But it's hard. We're still us. That's why this table looks like this. Okay. All right. Welcome back to the living room, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our foray outside. The land of coldness and trees, as I call it. Rachel is here, by the way. Oh my gosh, Rachel. You precious little angel. Are you here? She's joining us from the slave quarters. Since I'm in the master bedroom, it just makes sense that she must be in the slave quarters. She's actually got probably the preferable setup because I think she's occupying the day room, or will be occupying the day room, which is the same size as the living room, and the bathroom's just across the hall. The only reason the master bedroom is the master bedroom is it's connected to the bathroom suite. But I don't care because I just sleep in my room. Girls like to have their rooms have stuff, there's stuff in it and stuff like that, you know. I guess girls have more clothes too, you know. So, like, when I get all my clothes here, I'll put them in some drawers, and then, but I'll probably just I usually end up just kind of wearing the same set of 5 or 6 different things all the time because it always stays on top. I never get put beneath that on the pile because Rachel's pretty good about doing the laundry pretty regularly, which is very nice of her. It's very excellent of her to be willing to take on that job because it's not inherently hers. I'm not one of those kind of guys who thinks that only girls do the laundry or something. So I appreciate that. Io, been thinking recently, does TE ignoring judge the efficiency of your execution or your ability to complete a task successfully? You know, it's judging against if your experience of efficiency. So if you're like, for example, um, my 6 slot TE critical parent notes about McDonald's that they need to do their input differently such that if you're ordering multiple McDoubles with no pickles, they can do it 4 McDoubles all with no pickles rather than have to go McDouble, no pickles, McDouble, no pickles, McDouble, no pickles, McDouble, no pickles. So I've noted that as my critical parent noted that's bad TE, right? But so if in the 5th slot, you just find yourself disliking things that have too much of that, and concluding they're not, if they have too much of that kind of bad TE stuff going on, that you view them as not worthy of your respect, whether they're an organization or an individual or whatever. But the thing is, remember, TE is a subjective function, so you run afoul of other people's bad TE only when they are engaging in public stuff. Let's see here. let me go out back to the last chats that I read and go from there. Okay, here we are. Very territorial hippopotamuses, yes. Well, I kind of disagree. I like terror because it makes me think in different patterns, for example. Well, I like terror too because it it helps me to engage with things via NI. It allows my ignoring NI to work more like an action function. Um, I had a pen pal in Russia. She was a tarot astrologer, but I lost contact her when the war started with Ukraine. One of the few legit spiritual people I ever talked with. Hmm. Are you saying I'm not a legit spiritual person? I'm pretty spiritual. Like, I've got one of the biggest chakras you've ever seen. The mouth chakra. I've got an enormous mouth chakra. That's why I talk so much. Everything is spiritual here, Lamb. Everything. Even unspiritual things. Leave them alone. Leave those hippos alone. Hey, teacher, leave hippopotamuses alone. All in all, they'll knock your boat over and eat you with their tusks. Please take a second to hit the like button. Thanks, Winston Mom. You can't be, your mind has been penetrated. For the very first time? Oh, for 1,000 times. I could be wrong. Like I said, I've only been studying for a week. T Jump has a debate scheduled this evening over on Modern Day Debate. Yeah, sure, anytime. I've told you every time you said that, I think. But I never said wait till I get to Mariposa. Yeah, anytime's fine. That'd be awesome, America, Modern Day Debate. I would love to go on Modern Day Debate. But I don't know. We'd have to agree on if we're going to debate. We should just chat, probably. Modern Day Debate should have a conversation with me, a debate coach. It would be relevant to his channel. We could have an interesting conversation about debate, and it would be collegial rather than combative. You know. Isn't there a cat door? Is it open? The cat door goes into the garage. If I want to make it able for the cats to go outside via the cat door, I have to raise the garage door up about a foot, which we've done that before, but I don't want to do that right now. So I have to let them in and out. It's, it's, well, I worry about other animals besides the cats going into the garage if I leave the garage door cracked. She understood she was wrong but doesn't want to admit it. Who understood she was wrong but doesn't want to admit it? So 6 houses from the 4th in Sagittarius. Cognitive dissonance. Some people aren't self-reflective. She may not actually understand that at all. That's very apt observation, misfortune. The problem is that she isn't reflecting, she's just reacting emotionally. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. And you basically, what you say there is proving what misfortune says. Yeah, that's cool. I like those kind of exchanges, they make me smile. Um, there's also a certain street cred to playing the victim card out loud and too much noise in the data stream here on social media. Yeah, there's a lot of noise in the data stream. Stars are like a map of time. Stars are people who are so talented that they get to be in movies. I don't appreciate the victim card. Immediate turnoff. But that is just my focal point. I don't enjoy being vulnerable usually. I'm a victim. Oh yeah. Feel bad for me. Afford me extra privileges so I can be free of being a victim like I have for all this time. And finally, then I'll be just fine. It's called the Victim Song. Being mutable rising, you will appear changeable regardless, I assume. Mutable rising. That's a good expression. I've had to accept that people will think whatever about me that they do. Can't control that to a certain extent. Yeah, I don't really worry about it very much. Uh, I used to worry about it more. I only worry about what people think about me when I feel like I've done something wrong or done something awkward or embarrassing. As long as I don't feel like I've done anything that deserves scorn, then I don't worry about other people's scorn. I believe it's gone beyond that week alone that people have harassed her. I sympathize a little, but I would never put myself out there as the all knowing XXXX without being very sure. Right. Um, the thing is, if you are presenting yourself as a source of information about a topic that has any kind of genuine meaningfulness, then you should expect others to scrutinize, critique, etc. You're choosing to engage in public discourse about a matter appropriately delegated to public discourse. Debate: was the moon landing a hoax? I'll pass on the cow penetration. I prefer a fluffy sheep with some Velcro gloves. You can really get some grip. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, Misfortune. Who cares about the moon landing? Let's talk about the new videos released by the Pentagon showing UFOs. UFOs in Syria is going around during the war. Really? I want to see those videos. I think they're looking into our military capabilities. Well, that's one possibility. Nice place, Rick. Thanks. It's so cool. I would have been glued to it back then as well. Mistake felt very large. I remember the day watching Neil Armstrong on the moon on our tiny black and white TV. My mother wasn't paying attention, but I was. Yes, that's a fountain thing. You wanted to be an astronaut when you were a kid, Misfortune? Kids can't be astronauts, only adults. Yes, that's a fountain thing, which I want to get rid of because it's ridiculous. This baby riding a dolphin. I mean, come on. Everybody wants BTS to be a cat because the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. Pretty wilderness there, says Pale Scales. Thank you, Pale Scales. It is pretty wilderness. It's my backyard. I seen that balloon. Apparently it's huge, but they wouldn't have seen it coming way before now. Like it's not in Montana or Missouri or something like that. I was there. It's outside of Yosemite National Park. Have you been to his part of the world? Misfortune, it is the size of three buses and is flying over our silos and near the Dakotas, where we have a lot of specialized aircraft. I'm not sure why this is being allowed. Leapfrogging cherubs. I'm curious about this balloon thing. What is that? Chinese spy balloon we are now tracking? Oh, that does sound interesting. I'm not sure why we are allowing it either. Its mission is our air defense mission for airspaces between Canada and the continental United States. We know when geese fly over the borders. It certainly is odd. It gives me Red Dawn vibes, despite that being irrational. Something that light on meow 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 carried me to my home out. Looks a lot like Oregon. Yeah, it's on my list to investigate as well. Give me an odd feeling. I'm curious about this now too. You should have been given a package of paperwork about the house. It should be a lighting diagram. There he is, but I that stuff's that stuff is Cameron stuff or even professional electrician stuff. That's not for me. I've looked at the various. There's also like wiring diagrams for the water tank that this little community uses and various other diagrams and blueprints and stuff. I hate that shit. I look at it, I unroll it for a split second, and I see these like circuit diagrams. And it's like, fuck this noise. I don't want to even look at that at all. um, Good morning, Rachel. Me and my old lady sitting in the shade talking about the money I ain't made. Whoa, boy, don't you lie on TE track. Yeah. Well, it is true that I haven't made any of the money that I have. Well, I mean, I did make it. I completed the job of waiting for my parents to die and thereby earned my money. um, let's see. Are there wild animals here? Yes, there are. I've seen a bobcat slash mountain lion or whatever it is. I saw. I almost hit it with a car actually. Um, a while back before we moved here. Actually, it was a young one, but it was okay. I didn't hit it with a car. And I've seen an owl. I've seen a rabbit, and I've seen squirrels. A lot of hawks, a lot of ravens and crows. But there's probably bears around here, but I haven't seen any yet. I'd be very surprised if there's not bears around here. No, we are not. We are not making fake Sasquatch videos. Okay, I'm not into hoaxing. I'm opposed to deception as an art medium. He won't offer you grins and giggles, but Dr. Wolf is correct in his assessments, and I've been following him for a long time now. Sigh. Who's Dr. Wolf? What is he assessing about? Oh, here. Early this morning, I was listening to Dr. Richard Wolf talk about China and the state of our capitalism. That sounds depressing. No, he's got plenty of food, Jeremiah thinks. When trouble's meowing to go in and out and stuff, a lot of times he's meowing for reasons that have nothing to do with him needing anything, okay? Like, he'll meow to get me to go watch him eat, for example. He doesn't need me to watch him eat, but he thinks he does. He likes an audience. I get that. I like an audience too, but Just eat your food. Man, that property gives good vibes, a good blessing for your future endeavors, I think. Thank you, Miss Fortune. I think so too. Uh, you know, and it was a bit of a rough move in, but with me being sick, not having any of our stuff, the heater breaking, this plumbing problem, us not being able to figure out any light fixtures. But now almost all of those problems are fixed, and it's feeling very cozy in here. It's just we just need our stuff, and we'll be sitting pink or whatever they say, sitting pretty. You need a garden folly. A folly is a non-essential building that often serves as a garden focal point or eye catcher, drawing attention to the desired view. Okay, well, I won't mind having a garden folly, but I don't want that baby riding the dolphin fountain to be it. I'll have to pick a different garden folly. Maybe I'll carve one myself out of a piece of wood. We've got like these. We've got access to logs and pieces of wood of all shapes and sizes all around us because they're chopping down all the dead burnt trees from the previous fires. The last 2 summers have had fires. The creek fire was really bad and burned shit tons of forest around here. But it didn't burn where we are exactly, and it burned some of the wilderness over there, but not other parts of it. Regardless, now is the time to buy here, right? Because people are like, oh, it's all burnt around here. Oh, and there's been fires 2 summers in a row. Oh. So it's a very bottom of the market price right now. Rachel and I will get to live here, watch the forest come back, um, and watch the property appreciate in value, I would assume as well. It's 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 got a lot of selling points. This place, easy access to stores is not one of them. It's like when you drive out here to see this house the first time, you're you're all engaged intellectually, emotionally in this process of looking at a house you might be buying, and you're not really making good note of how long it takes to get from the town of Mariposa to here or whatever. You know, we are so far back that it's quite a trek to get into town. Um, but that's a good thing. I'm really convinced that's a good thing because it it forces us to live a more honest kind of life. Like we can't just we can't just abdicate our own responsibility for entertaining ourselves, which necessarily results in more creativity probably because of the types that we are. How are we going to entertain ourselves? It's a good environment for us creatively. I think Rachel and I will be a more effective creative team, and each of us will be probably more creatively active independently as well. So, and, there's lots of places to play around. That's one of the things I just couldn't stand about LA. There's no place you could go, be by yourself and play around, and without without other people being there or worrying that there's homeless people there hiding in these culverts and shit like that. There was no wilderness anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I think the tarot is useful in helping deliberator types think more holistically. In other words, engage with knowledge more effectively. Tarot is good at that because it's compelling you to deal with holistic things that don't deconstruct very easily, but it's giving you a mechanism to deconstruct them somewhat, namely a 72 layer sandwich of cards. That gives me deja vu, or you told me that before. Interesting tidbits, though. Analyzing love, romance, values, beauty, the depths and mystery of feeling. And did you mean that it's the first house or the first deacon? What houses are Venus ruling? I've been thinking recently to TE ignoring to answer that question. Okay. Eric has the most open throat chakra ever. It's the chakra related to language, truth, and the lower mental faculties, versus intuition and mind vision being higher. Very NTP chakra. Huh? My throat chakra. All right. Means I can deep throat a horse. I can deep throat a horse. That's how massive my throat chakra is. Oh, Melissa understood that she is wrong. That's it. Host Eric Days of Future Past. He has now entered the before time of the chat again. Yes. Uh, yeah, it's an interesting dive for a day or two. I just didn't like the vibes of the people that put out info on it. I'll just not comment on it. That's a good point. I should check out Chris's or Sykes' channel to see if he has played with this model. I just checked Misfortune. Eric is a projector in human design. Yeah. Eric is a a hurler of contempt and scorn at human design. And NHB has many ways of saying I don't know without admitting they don't know. I mean, I usually just say I don't know if I don't know something. But the thing is, I probably know something related to whatever. So I might share what I do know and also what I don't know. Rachel's a 1/3 manifesting generator. One of the other 2/3. Good morning, Lou. Can't really stay because of your new job, but wanted to let you know I'm happy y'all are here for me to listen to and read as time allows. Hope everyone's good. Well, I hope you're good as well, Lou DeFay. And Rachel and I were talking about how we'd like to hang out with you, have a video conference, hang out sometime soon. Circuit diagrams are great. said somebody not named Eric. Could the cats be in danger in that forest? Yeah, it could be. It's conceivable that a wild animal predator could kill either Treble or Capillo, but I'm not going to force them to stay inside all the time in order to prevent accidents. I don't believe imprisonment is what you do to things you love. You don't like manifestors? Of course I like manifestors. True dat. I just don't know. Is this face a tongue out? And parentheses, semicolon, and P. Deep throat a horse. OMG, the things you say. Well, a colt. Maybe not a full grown stallion. I got to the end of the chat. Well, I finally finished all of my work for the day. I'm actually waiting for the plumber who should be here shortly, and the electrician, who should be here shortly. We're getting 2 pieces of work done today. The plumber probably isn't going to be able to finish his job today because we're going to have to discuss our possibilities with the plumber. It's got kind of one of those prefab fiberglass bathtub fake wall tile units there. I kind of want to just yank that whole thing out, replace it with a new one of those exact same kind of things. Just because it looks all old and worn out anyway. But we're probably and because we're probably going to have to take it out to fix the leak problem anyway. So, but I need to consult with the plumber regarding what to do about the plumbing problem. The electrician, I'll just point him to the room with the broken fixture and say, "Can you fix this?" And then I have another question about how to make the fan go on in the kitchen. I'm not sure if it's broken or if I'm just being too dumb about TE stuff. You know, the only problem with the propane heater upstairs was that the pilot light wasn't on. But I couldn't figure it out. You know, it's like I had Cameron look at it, but he didn't really try very hard to fix it, I guess. We both looked at it a bit, but neither of us had any experience with this kind of thing, right? These kind of heaters that get propane from a tank outside of your house and then be these little fake wood burning stoves. So anyway, he managed to get the pilot light going. And now the one upstairs works too. But yeah, the plumber and the electrician are both supposed to be here before 10. Trouble wants a laser beam. You know, Trouble I think he has plenty of things to occupy his attention. You know, he's got this whole new area to explore, and there are fewer houses. You know, there's more just open land. So he's probably finding it pretty interesting, I would guess. But he doesn't really tell me much about his day when he comes home in the evening. You know, I've been slaving all day over a hot stove to make him dinner, and he just shovels it down, doesn't even taste the food, and just reads the paper and doesn't even talk to me. It's like, am I your wife or your serving maid? And he just goes, oh, I'm sorry, what? Never mind. Let me just do the dishes now. That's basically my relationship with my cat. I'm the underappreciated, long-suffering wife, and he's the dickish, cold, breadwinning husband from the 50s. He's like a shark with a laser beam that can slice predators. Sharks don't need to slice predators. They need to slice prey because sharks are predators. I pray that one day prey and predators can pray together so that predation never occurs again. That's such a beautiful sentiment, Eric. Thanks, everyone. That's why I've won this year's Nobel Peace Prize. The dumbest prize ever. Gruntcore. Your name rhymes with bad words. Like runt and poor. Or two even worse words than that. What rhymes with onomatopoeia? Tommy gotta see ya. Bam! Onomatopoeia. What? Tommy gotta see ya? That's what rhymes with onomatopoeia. What rhymes with freaking laser beam? Trickin' hazy steam? Drink a cold sangria. That's even better, I think, than Tommy gotta see ya. Onomatopoeia. Drink a cold sangria. Tommy gotta see ya. Bring a bold Maria. There's your 4-line poem. What a onomatopoeia. Drink a cold sangria. Tommy gotta see ya. Bring a bold Maria. The end. What a great poem. I should win the Nobel Prize for poetry. Ruben, I'll split it with you. I get 3/4 of it, you get 1/4, because you wrote one of the 4 lines and I wrote the other 3. And we'll just, if they give us a plaque or something, we'll just cut it 1/4 of it off and give you 1/4 of the plaque. The plaque's probably less important to either of us than the money, so I think it's like $1 million. You'll get 250,000. I'll get 750,000. Freaking laser beams licking crazy creams, though, Miss Fortune. Why icy? You got crazy. Got rhyme with laser, kind of. Freaking laser beams licking crazy creams. Sticking hazy beams in Rick's new glazy dream. Tastier. What rhymes with tastier? Pastier. Chastier. That means less likely to have sex. Chastier. Pish posh. Pitter patter. Pish it to pasta. The Germans have some really interesting terms for things. Yeah. That feeling of unvoiced, seething rage at those people who aren't keeping an orderly line. Glockenschnuckenklocke. The German word for rage at disorder, at people who don't keep the line orderly. Waldenschmelz is a German word that refers to the feeling one has while being alone in the woods, usually a sublime or spiritual one. Waldensamkeit. 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 I'm experiencing Waldensamkeit right now. You may say, but how could you be experiencing Waldensamkeit right now when you just learned the term? Doesn't that kind of lack verisimilitude? And I'd say, enough with the big words already. What rhymes with verisimilitude? Sure is a militant dude. Verisimilitude sure is a militant dude. It's a pretty good sentence. Verisimilitude is a good word to know the meaning of. Everybody should know what that word is and what it means, because it's something you need to refer to sometimes. It's the believability of a given narrative. the credibility, the extent to which it makes you incredulous means it lacks verisimilitude. Hallo Valdo. Hello Vald Kollegin. The end of Valdingsamkeit. I'm going to pop this out with the pop out function. I'm going to make it big, like a big old junction. I'm going to push the thing. Going to do it now. I'll then see those words so well. Wow. I can read them now. Without my glasses, I can read them now. Yeah. I am experiencing Treeman. Erectrementainment. Erectrementainment. Yes. That's a portmanteau. Does everybody know what a portmanteau is? A portmanteau is a word like brunch. You know? It's breakfast and lunch pushed together to make a new word. It's half of one, half the other. That's what a portmanteau is. Well, what it really means though is believability in media, in narratives specifically. So like if you're writing a story and your main character is running away from some bad guys and is being chased up the stairs of this building and then gets to the top of the roof of the building and is cornered and then looks and goes, oh, what luck! Someone's left a hang glider right here that I can just get onto and fly away on. Then that your job as a storyteller, you failed in some regard because you've you've not you've not provided verisimilitude. That's not a believable way that anybody's going to escape that situation. It just relies on dumb luck. And when is that ever going to happen? The only way you can give a verisimilitude would be to contextually highlight the fact that that's the only instance where that has occurred, and that realistically, sometimes that does occur, occasional lucky break. So, like a writer could use an element like that once in a narrative, maybe, and it would work and still not sacrifice the verisimilitude of the whole narrative, provided they hang a lantern on it, as they say. The meal between brunch and lunch is called blunch. Okay, the meal between brunch and lunch is called blunch. Yeah. Oh, Gruntcore. Gruntcore identified the name of it before I did. Okay, I understand. Blunch. Well, if you're a hobbit, you have blunch. You have breakfast, brunch, blunch, lunch, um, dinner. No, I'm sorry. Dunch, then dinner, then lipper, then dumper. Right. Second blunch. Right. I mean, you always have a hang glider waiting on the roof for your great escape. Slur ice pillar food. It doesn't really rhyme with verisimilitude, but pretty close. Yes, what about second breakfast? Well, second breakfast, I guess, would come before brunch. It should be called breakfast. Deus Ex Machina. The Ghost in the Machine. The Ghost in the Machine, archetypally, could be said to conceptually convey the fact that dynamic systems always have a synergistic element that makes them irreducible. So that you can't explain why something works in a reducibly satisfying fashion because it would appear to be missing an agent. Of course, it's not missing an agent, it's just language isn't equipped well to convey information about dynamism because its processes, the processes of the language are to render dynamisms into static form, static symbols. All right, so which would you rather be accused of? Circumlocution or circumnavigation? This is a question to all the people. Which would you rather be accused of? We're not going to address the question of whether you're falsely accused of it or accurately accused of it, okay? Not knowing whether it's false or accurate, the accusation, which would you rather be accused of? Circumlocution or circumnavigation? You can also choose circumcision. You have three choices now, A, B, or C. Circumlocution, circumnavigation, or circumcision? Which would you rather be publicly accused of? My beautiful. Circummoving, circumlocution. Circumlocution or poontang location. Which one wins? Circumlocution or poontang location. They're both great dynamite performers. Circumlocution or poontang location. Which one will win? Circumlocution or poontang location. I should get another one of those air tags from Cameron so that I can have a poontang locator. When Rachel's asleep, I'll sneak into her room and insert an Apple AirTag into her vagina. That way, when I'm poking randomly around in the dark with my erect penis, I'll have a better chance of finding the correct hole. Circumnavigation fits you better. You don't have to circumnavigate the whole globe. You could just circumnavigate like a person by just walking all the way around them, I guess. Rachel, can I borrow your phone? I've got to find your poontang. 3 feet, 2 feet. There it is. That was a fiery one. That's the sort of dummy thing that ENTPs would do with INFJs sometimes. Be like, let me borrow your phone so that I can look for the AirTag that shows me where your vagina is. Instead of saying, where's your vagina? All right, I will admit that specific example has never actually happened. It's never been the case yet that I've forgotten where Rachel's vagina is. But I wouldn't put it past me. Yeah, it is amazing what the smartphone apps can do. I've got a AirTag on my keys. So if I ever can't find them, Rachel's phone will walk us right to them. They should combine AirTags and IUDs. IUD tag. Is your girlfriend or wife a whore? Try new sleep insertable IUD tag. Simply, gently and quietly slip the IUD tag into your partner's vagina while she's sleeping. Push it all the way up to the cervix. Now, she can both not get pregnant and you'll always know where her vagina is. It's got a little camera too. You can push to see the inside of the vagina. See, and you show it to your, that's not my penis head. How did you get that footage? I'll never tell. He went nuts on me last night. Well, he can do whatever he wants in his channel. He just can't come befoul mine with his garbage. Yes, I do plan to resume them soon, but not quite yet. I want to get genuinely settled in here, which means I need to get all my stuff out of the pod, which happens on Monday. I've got a plumbing issue that I'm getting looked at today, and an electrician who's coming today as well. Well, he can try to do that all he wants. It's fine. I have no problem talking about it. Something, you know. It's not like he's. I don't know exactly what he said. It depends what he accused me of or said I did or whatever, whether he did anything wrong or not. I'm not going to watch it, so I'm not going to know, but from actual personal experience, whether he said anything that would justify me objecting at all. But even if he did, I don't really care. I'm not that. I'm so. I don't have to worry about what other people say about me because I say everything about myself, good and bad. I say it all. And I'm my own worst critic. If somebody's critiquing me in ways worse than I'm critiquing myself, they're just lying and or wrong and or venting their own emotions or something. Because the reason I don't worry about what other people say to me is because there's nothing true they can say that is going to cost me the moral high ground. He was making up a lot of stuff about me and my family dad relationship and house, Rachel, etc. I mean, I don't think that's going to play very well for him. People are not going to think, oh, this is a good person. People are going to think, wow, he really sure is using a lot of unwarranted personal attacks. You know? The confusing signals, the impurity of the signal gives you verisimilitude, as when you attend a funeral and notice that it's being poorly done. I think of the line from the German writer Helmida von Doderer. At first you break windows, then you become a window yourself. I like the first one better. That's great. The confusing signals, the impurity of the signal. As when you attend a funeral and notice that it's being poorly done. I almost want it to be an incomplete sentence and leave out the actual message of it, even though the message of it is great. That's a great way of understanding what verisimilitude is, a great way of using the term. But I really like that first quote a lot. The second one I don't like because I think that is well, unfortunately, particular commonalities are not indicative of attentional commonalities. When you take away verisimilitude, you do not automatically find the veridical, but perhaps the implausible. Yeah, whatever. Um, I'll put it this way. He cares a lot more about me than I do about him. I'm not interested in engaging with him. He's boring. He's boring. He's hostile. I'm not interested in engaging with him. And, I've got much more interesting things going on. You know? Yeah. Clubbing TV. I got a club too. Mindy's Club. It's spelled with a K. Thanks to Winston's mom. She made that suggestion. I'm looking forward to having my dolls back. I miss them, Like I can't. I don't know why I ever put them in the pot. That was dumb. I should never have put my girls in the pot. I haven't been able to play with Tiffany or Mindy or any of my other little friends for a long time. I miss them. I want them to make videos again. I want them to explore the wilderness. Clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades. Clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades. Oh yeah, we're playing cards with clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades. Oh, okay, it's time for another cigarette now. Cryostasis. Listen, all of us together comprise a single chrysalis from which a grander consciousness will emerge when the singularity arrives. It's like a metaphysical Big Bang is about to happen. If I was a con artist, I could say a bunch of bullshit like that in really serious ways, and people would totally buy it. Even though it was complete nonsense. Even though I didn't say a goddamn thing. Right? Oh, Tiffany is going to be so mad at me. I am so not looking forward to the scolding I am going to get. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah. Rachel and I have already discussed this too. Tiffany's wrath is going to be a rough tongue lashing. I have a feeling she may even go so far as to tell me, "Y'all stink!" And then I'd just be crushed, you know. That's her nuclear bomb. When she's had enough of you, you're too big for your britches. But when she's really had enough of you, you stink. You don't want to stink, do you? I'm a dumb Eric with his dumb ways. Such terrible tea. It can't make a little tripod work, 'cause I'm so terrible at TE. I can't make it straight, that it's leaning this way, 'cause I'm terrible at TE. I don't know how to make things work, 'cause I'm terrible at TE. I like those pink face guys. What are those? I'm having intuitions about how to impact this chat with my newfound authority. Mariposa Trek 2, The Wrath of Mindy. Mindy will be. Mindy's more dangerous than Tiffany. Tiffany will yell at me. Mindy will, like, break my arm while I'm sleeping or something. She's got a little bit of that sociopathic, evil mastermind thing going on. You know? Okay, let's go back to the other side, is more picturesque, as they say. A term used to refer to scenic backdrops that are worthy of being taken pictures of. So when the lobster males go into the backyard, they locate the most photogenic area, and this is how they attract mates. So yeah, that's important stuff, serious stuff. It's stuff we need to really take into consideration. Oh, Christmas tree, how lovely are your branches. Oh, Christmas tree, and do you own some ranches? Not only green in summertime, but also green in winter's climb. Oh, Christmas tree, how lovely are your branches. So lovely. Your branches are so lovely. I have never seen such lovely branches. Lovely branches, Christmas tree. Hanging ornaments off your branches, I see. I went and played guitars in the guitar store yesterday. I might go back and play some more today. I probably won't buy one today. I'll probably go back again and play some more the next day, you know. But I'm going to get a guitar. I'll probably get an electric. I played acoustics yesterday. I do have an acoustic already. The electric that I wanted to buy when I was last here in Mariposa, it sold between when I was here then and now. So I have to try all their electrics that they have in the store. I want to buy my guitar that I'm going to buy at this store here in Mariposa. I don't want to buy it for someplace else. Even though I may have less choices, fewer choices, even though I may get more exactly a guitar I want someplace else, I want the guitar to have this kind of SI connection with this place. So I want to buy it at that store. They don't have that many guitars there. They're reasonably priced, though. there is one guitar there that I want to try. It's an electric that I want to plug in and try playing, and it's it's called a Loar, Loar, but it kind of looks like a Gibson Epiphone, but it's even bigger. It's like huge guitar. I don't really like the hugeness of it. Looking at it on the wall, but it's probably pretty well sized for me actually, and I like the color. I have to play it and see how it plays. You know. The other problem with yesterday when I went to play the guitars is my head was super stuffed up, and I wasn't hearing very well because it's like you know how when you go up in the airplane, your ears go get pressury and stuff. My ears were like that like all day yesterday because I had this cold a lot worse yesterday than it is now. I still have it. I'm still not better all the way, but um, I definitely feel like the worst of it's past. Like I was much more sick yesterday morning when I got up than I am this morning. So naturally, I tend to feel sickest at the beginnings and the endings of the day when I'm sick. So, uh, so I did feel quite sick last night. But then I got a pretty good night's sleep, and I feel pretty well this morning. Well, like 80%. Yeah, like 80% well. I'm questionable for Sunday's game, but no, I'm probable for Sunday's game. If we're going to use NFL injury metaphors, I wonder what this thing was for. What used to be on that thing? Can you see it? It's some sort of a cult symbol. No, it's not. Some sort of foundation to something that was sitting on top of it before. But I don't know what it is. I'm not embarrassed about playing with dolls. I'm proud of it. I love playing with dolls. I love making videos with dolls. I don't actually play with them unless I'm making media. But I still play with Tiffany even when she's not around. I be Tiffany some of the time. That guy certainly gives himself a lot of credit without much cause. It's like my dad shoots himself in the head, and he thinks he's why I stopped playing with dolls. Okay. Which happened many months after our last encounter with each other. Many months afterwards, I stopped playing with dolls. After my dad shot himself in the head. And he thinks he's responsible for it. The lack of awareness is stunning. I know. It's crazy. I mean, he's trying to be provocative, I guess, or he's trying to use some like stuff that happened that he can reference, use it against me in some way, and not caring at all whether what he's saying is makes any sense or can be substantiated or anything like that. Plug this phone in so that we don't run out of batteries. If you run out of batteries, you can't live stream on your phone anymore. They made a rule about that. No batteryless phones are allowed to live stream. I would expect the plumber and the electrician to be here soon. They said between 9 and 10. It's 9:30. But I guess they're not late because it's not 10 yet. The thing he claims he watches all your material carefully, but was making up a lot of nonsense. Not that I know of. But did he contact me recently? Not that I know of, no. I haven't seen any emails or anything. I haven't really been checking my email. Why would he claim to watch all my material? Like, what is... I guess it's just not understanding how things play, I guess. Yeah, people actually do need to take typology stuff and identity stuff pretty seriously because SI users um, are less susceptible in general to being harmed by false descriptions of themselves. But NI users are very susceptible to it. When Rachel reads something that tells her that the relationship between INFJ and ENTP is a bad one because of meow meow meow, it actually concerns her. It makes her go like, "Oh my God, are we gonna end up bad?" Even though, from my perspective as an SI user, it's like all the data that we have more than abundantly disproves these claims. I wouldn't even. Why would one even be interested in learning more about what sort of universals inform us about our relationship? Universals can inform us about our relationship in that they can explain why we interact in this way or that way, but they can't inform us about our relationship in terms of whether we want to be together or not, because we have to make that decision on our particular experiences. And our particular experiences have proven that we want to be together 100%, and we always will. There's just too much data of particular SI experiences piled up of us interacting well and lovingly with each other together through multiple kinds of circumstances, good, bad, ugly. So, from an SI perspective, the NI realities at this point are irrelevant in understanding the relationship because we have so much compiled SI data. But NI people are susceptible to being genuinely disturbed by people saying you are this type and therefore like this and blah 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 blah, and it can cause them a lot of harm to not have an incorrect map of the self. Rachel's upstairs. She's probably doing normal girl morning stuff. She likes to use her hands on her head and face in various ways a lot. You know, she'll put things on her face and then take those things off of her face, and she'll put things on her ears, and she'll do things with her hairs. The girls have a strange relationship with their head. You know, normal people, aka not girls, may find this hard to believe, but girls have entire stores dedicated to the maintenance of their eyebrows. An entire store does nothing but tend to eyebrows. Can you believe that? It's crazy. Like, what can you possibly do? How much can you do to your eyebrow? It should be like 1 second cut here, 1 second cut there. You should never be able to make a living tending to people's eyebrows. I mean, really? Or there's these places called blow bars that all they do is blow dry your hair. I think that's all they do. Maybe they wash it too, but I think they just blow dry it. And I already look weird enough. I need to get a haircut. I think maybe I'll go to a barbershop today or something. But I gotta wait for the plumber and the electrician to come first. You know, um, when we were living out of hotels and stuff, Rachel had uh, the right amount of clothes with her for what we were doing approximately, whereas I had way too few clothes with me. But Rachel also had this blue bag. It was filled with nothing but little tubes and vials of different little girl things. Like balm, lotion, makeup, this kind of makeup, that kind of makeup. And there's this big blue bag, and it comprised at least two, but maybe three smaller bags. Um, I would be curious to count the number of specific individual objects comprising that totality of girl stuff. It must be hundreds of objects, at least 100. Okay, let me scroll up a little bit. I think I may end up, but Rachel's not even bad. You want to talk about bad about girl stuff? ESFJ? Oh my goodness. Like, how many different smells of shampoo do you need? We used to have like 25 bottles of shampoo in our fridge. Every different fruit combination you could imagine. And it was just a small house, too. It was a really small house. We were just overwhelmed with ESFJ stuff. Both Delilah and I were crammed into little corners, and the rest of the house was Candace and her ESFJ stuff. My SIL is ESFJ. What's SI? Oh, sister in law. Hundreds of unique outfits. Then why should anyone want that much power? Why does a moth fly toward light? I hate people. I hate it when people answer questions with questions. I do it myself, but when I'm observing an exchange, either in literature or otherwise, and somebody asks a question and it gets answered with a question, it just makes me mad. It's like, answer the question. One ESFJ I know has like 50 bra and panty sets. They must match, and she buys more. Wow. Well, yeah, they like to accumulate objects. Oh, well, I'm glad you had it, Rich. I'm not objecting to it at all. I'm just demonstrating how girls are in general. Delilah's like that too, you know. Delilah has a bunch of girl stuff too. It seems pretty. It's not universal. Not all girls are into girl stuff, but most of them are. Even very thinky people like Delilah, she still is really into girly stuff like makeup and stuff like that, you know. But Rachel's well contained in terms of her relationship with objects and her space. She's not she's not a an accumulator of clutter. The thing is, if if you're going to buy objects, at least it's better to buy things that you consume, like shampoos and makeups and stuff, and things you wear like clothes. Then I mean, you only need a certain amount of clothes, right? You're never going to get through all of your clothes if you have too many clothes. But like Candace used to have, she liked Coach bags, and they're these expensive purses, right? And they all look kind of the same, basically. They had slight variations. She had like 6 or 7 of them, and and then she didn't even use them because and she didn't even use them because then it would hurt their resale value. What she already knows is she's going to get less than full price for them, that they're not going to appreciate. But she wants to get as much money back for them as she can from what she put into it, or something like that. So it's like, why are you buying these expensive purses to put in the closet? But you know, at the time I was drinking, so I just stayed out of her way. She kind of stayed out of mine as best as possible. We were a good team when it came to raising Delilah. That's where we worked well together. That was the only place that it mattered that we worked well together. We enjoyed doing things as a threesome, you know, going taking Delilah to things that kids like to do. We enjoyed doing that, and Delilah was well cared for by Candace in ways that I would have failed. You know, Delilah never was there a mealtime when Delilah wasn't having food pushed on her. You know, there was plenty of that traditional mom stuff. So Ruben's not gonna ban you, Misfortune, unless that's your fetish. Your fetish, Misfortune, is that you can only get off when someone bans you on YouTube. Right now, she's like, come on, ban me, ban me. I need to orgasm so badly. Oh, okay. It is a very niche thing. I do believe, though, there's a category for it on Pornhub. YouTube ban. And it's just a video of a guy typing, I like you, ban. I'm looking sad. And then that's kind of pornography that girls like to watch. They masturbate to that. Well, I hope the plumber and the electrician come. It's 9:46, getting close to 10. You know, they could come a little after 10, and it wouldn't matter, but it's like the electrician's job, that's non-pressing, but I'd like to get done and out of the way. The fixing of the fixture in the upstairs left bedroom, or what Rachel calls the blue room. I think we'll probably call it the blue room. I like how Rachel has named the rooms in that fashion. At least that one. I don't know if she's named any of the other ones. We have the day room we call the day room, which is the room above this one. Um, you have a green room? That's good. It's a good place to hang out before you go on stage. Yeah, that's why we stayed together until Delilah was 16 or something. It's because we both wanted the same thing out of the relationship, the experience of raising a child together. And we got that, you know. It got strained when Delilah got to be about 14 because she got more pushback from Delilah. Candace did, and Candace responded to that pushback in an authoritarian, an attempt at authoritarian fashion, you know, which was never going to fly with Delilah and wasn't going to fly with me either. So I had to explain, look, you're not anybody's boss here, okay? We don't do things that way in this family. We everything is contingent on actual consent and agreement, not forcing people to do things they don't want to do. I was much better standing up for Delilah than I was standing up for myself. Well, Misfortune, I'm looking forward to having repaired people in my house right now because I don't feel like it really becomes my house until it's finished being repaired, you know, and until our stuff is here and moved in on Monday. Then we'll really be at home. Right now, we're still in this unfortunately prolonged um, period of flux that is prolonged because I didn't TE this process very well. I had order of operations problems. I should have had the pod delivered right away, like first thing. The but you know, I did the best I could, and I because I'm SI, because I'm any Dom SI fourth, it's always going to be the case that whenever I'm trying to do something for the first time that I've never done before, that I'm gonna fail in multiple ways. There have no other. My NI is ignoring. That's the other way to know how to do things, right? Is with the function that I'm constantly ignoring. So Is it green? No, no. Yellow? No, no. Green. Green. I'm going with green. It's 50-50. It's either yellow or green. Um, okay. How long have I been streaming for? Let me see. The Sugar Pine. The Sugar Pine Cafe is not open any longer. It doesn't say how long I've been streaming. Oh wait, if I go back to the beginning here, it'll tell me. Oh wow, almost 4 hours, 3 hours and 40 minutes. It's a lot of streaming for a little Eric, huh? Big stream for Eric. It's so true. It's so true. You probably think this song is about you. Emily says we've only been live streaming for 3 minutes. You better check to make sure your watch is working properly, Emily. We've only almost been streaming for 4 full hours. And that's an awfully long time, as Prince says. What's longer than forever? Forever plus one. Length in terms of duration, I mean. Space and time and light and sound and stuff. That's the kind of thing physics about. Yes, that's kind of physics stuff it is, yeah. Meow, 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 meow. Okay, so that's going to bring the stream to a close. And I want to. Oh, Ruben, you absolutely win. What's longer than forever? 5 ever. That is the back-breaking three-pointer from half court that ends the game decisively as your teammates throw you up into the air screaming, huzzah, huzzah, we have won. All right, goodbye, you all. I love you all. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. And good tidings to America. Oh, that's why I'm having trouble turning this off. I'm trying to turn it off on the computer, but I'm streaming on my phone. No wonder I'm having problems here. Okay, sorry for the false ending. Goodbye, good night, and good luck, America and the world.